sleep with 12 wealthy men. Switch their protection with this. Their seed will not bring children. It will activate your destiny. Their fall will be your rise.
What kind of fall?
That is not your concern.
Chief Clement Akono did not smell like the others. He smelled of oud, that heavy, expensive perfume that suffocates a room. I met him at a private party in a glass-walled mansion in Banana Island. I wore the red dress, the one slit so high it was an invitation and a threat. When I walked in, the room went quiet. My body, that clay figure mistake, was now a masterpiece of curves that defied physics. Men stopped mid-sentence. Wives tightened their grip on their designer purses. Clement sat on a gold-rimmed throne chair in the corner, surrounded by bodyguards. He was a massive man, his skin the color of charcoal, his eyes hidden behind dark glasses. He pointed a finger at me.
You. I walked toward him. My legs felt heavy, as if I were dragging the ghosts of the 11 men behind me. Sir, I said, my voice smooth, practiced. He didn't smile. He reached out and grabbed my wrist. His hand was cold. Your body, he said, his voice a low rumble. It is not correct. It is crooked. My heart stopped. He saw it. He saw the deformity I tried to hide with surgery and filterf. Then he grinned, revealing gold-capped teeth. I like crooked things. Straight roads are boring. The presidential suite at Echo Hotel overlooked the Atlantic Ocean. The air conditioner was set to freezing, but I was sweating. This was it, number 12, the final key. Clement poured 2 glasses of Dom Perignon. He watched me like a hawk watches a chick. You are nervous, Ria, he said. Why? I am just honored, Chief. I lied. He laughed. You are a liar, but you are beautiful. He went to the bathroom. This was my window. I scrambled for my bag. My hands were shaking so violently, I almost dropped the pouch. I pulled out the 12th condom. The red thread was pulsing faster now, like a heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. I hid it in my palm. When he came back, he didn't waste time. He was rough, possessive. He didn't use the wrapper I offered. He reached into his own pocket. No, Chief, I whispered, pushing his hand down. Let me. I brought something special. For luck. He paused. He looked at me, his dark glasses now on the bedside table. His eyes were yellowed, predatory. For a second, I thought he knew. I thought he could see Baba Ruji standing in the corner of the room. Then he shrugged. Luck is good. I made the switch. The moment he entered me, the air in the room changed. The heavy velvet curtains blew inward, though the windows were sealed shut. The lights flickered, buzz, click, buzz, and then exploded, raining glass onto the carpet. Clement froze. He didn't groan. He didn't gasp. He just stopped moving. Chief? I whispered. I pushed him off me. He rolled onto his back. His eyes were wide open, staring at the ceiling. His mouth was open in a silent scream. His face twisted as if he was seeing hell itself opening up above him. Then, this smell hit me. Rotten corn. The smell of my village. The smell of poverty. It exploded from his pores, filling the luxury suite with the stench of decay. I grabbed my clothes. I didn't button my dress. I grabbed the used condom, the thread now black and wet, and ran barefoot out of the suite, down the fire escape, into the Lagos night. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my car parked near the lagoon, shaking, waiting for the police, waiting for the madness. But what came was the alert. It was loud in the silence of the car. I looked at my phone. It wasn't a bank transfer.
It was an email from a law firm. Subject, transfer of deed, Akono Estates. Ping, subject, Offshore account access granted. Ping. Subject. Your private jet awaits. I screamed. I dropped the phone. I drove back to my apartment in Ikoyi. When I opened the door, I tripped. I looked down. Gold. Not jewelry. Bars. Heavy, yellow, solid gold was stacked on my center table like books. Beside them were car keys, Range Rover, Bentley, Rolls-Royce. I fell to my knees. I grabbed a bar. It was cold and heavy. I bit it. It was real. I did it. I whispered. Then I laughed. I did it. Baba, I did it. I rolled on the floor, surrounded by deeds to houses I had never visited and money I hadn't earned. I was richer than the government. I was a goddess. I poured a glass of the expensive wine I had bought weeks ago, but never opened. I turned up the music. Burna Boy blasted through the surround sound speakers. My body no be voodoo. I danced. I spun around the room, kicking gold bars, laughing hysterically. I was free. No more smoke, no more insults, no more hunger. I danced towards the giant floor-to-ceiling mirror in the hallway to admire myself, the richest woman in Africa. Look at you, Ria! I shouted over the music. Look at you! I struck a pose, throwing my hands in the air, shaking my hips, that billion-dollar body. But in the mirror, my reflection didn't move. I stopped dancing. The music kept playing. But in the mirror, my reflection was still dancing. It was spinning wildly, her head thrown back in a silent manic laugh. But it wasn't my face anymore. The skin on my reflection was melting. The nose was sliding off. The eyes were white holes. And behind her, in the mirror world, 12 men stood in a circle, clapping. Slowly, the reflection stopped dancing. She turned to face me. Her jaw hung loose, unhinged. She lifted a rotting finger and pointed at me. Then she spoke, not with my voice, but with the voice of the backing chairman. The debt is paid. Now the tenant must vacate. The light in my apartment died. The rot didn't start with my skin. It started with the gold. I woke up the morning after the mirror spoke to me, lying on the cold marble floor of my living room. The sun was streaming in through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Banana Island. I sat up, my head pounding. It was a dream, I whispered. Just a bad dream. I looked at the center table. The gold bars were still there. The car keys were still there. I laughed, a weak, broken sound. See, real, it's real. I reached out to touch the gold bar, the one I had bitten the night before. But the moment my finger grazed it, the metal didn't feel cold. It felt soft, mushy. I frowned. I pressed harder. The gold bar collapsed under my finger. It wasn't gold. It was a yam. A rotten, maggot-infested tuber of yam, painted yellow. I screamed and scrambled back. I looked at the car keys. They weren't keys. They were stones. Smooth river stones shaped like fobs. I grabbed my phone to check my balance. The alerts, the billions, the millions. Network error. Account not found. No! I gasped, clawing at the screen. No! 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 I stood up to run to the garage to check the Range Rover, but my legs didn't work. I looked down. My legs were swelling. They were turning black, expanding like bread soaked in water. I took a night bus, huddled in the back, covered in a large boo-boo to hide the smell of my rotting flesh. People moved away from me. Madam, you carry Dadwat? The conductor asked, covering his nose. I didn't answer. I just cried, tears that burned my cheeks like acid.
I arrived in Oritokoko at dawn. The village hadn't changed. The rustling cassava fields, the rusted zinc roofs, the poverty, it was all waiting for me, like a faithful dog. I limped to the bush path. My feet were dragging now. Baba! I screamed when I reached the clearing. Baba, you lied! Fix it! Take it back! But there was no shrine. There was only a patch of scorched earth, ash, blackened wood, and silence. Who are you looking for? I spun around. An old woman was washing clothes in the stream nearby. She looked at me with eyes that knew too much. Baba Ruji, I choked out. The Babalawo who lives here. The woman laughed. Baba Ruji died 10 years ago. Fire burned him and his juju alive. My blood ran cold. No, I was here weeks ago. I spoke to him.
He gave me... I reached into my bag to pull out the black pouch, the proof. But when I pulled my hand out, I was holding a dead rat, dry, stiff, and tied with a red thread around its neck. I dropped it and screamed. "You traded with spirits, my daughter," the old woman said, wringing out a cloth. "Spirits don't give change." The blindness came 3 days later. I was sitting by the roadside, the same spot under the mango tree where I used to sell corn. I had nowhere else to go. My parents' house had collapsed years ago. The villagers threw stones at me when they saw my face. My face was melting. The clay figure body that Clement had loved was now truly clay. It was shifting, sagging, losing its form. The sun was hot. I closed my eyes for a moment to rest. When I opened them, the world was gone. Just grey fog. "Help me," I whispered to the darkness. "Please." That was when I heard them. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Footsteps. 12 pairs of feet, dragging in the dust. They formed a circle around me. I couldn't see them, but I could smell them. The pepper soup, the starch, the expensive cologne, the rotten corn. A hand touched my shoulder. It was cold. "You wanted to be seen," the chairman's voice whispered in my right ear. "You wanted to be touched," the hotel owner whispered in my left. "You wanted to be rich," Chief Clement roared in front of me. "Now," they said in unison, a choir of the damned, "you belong to us." I sit by the roadside now. I hold a plastic cup, but I don't ask for money. Money turns to dust in my hands. I listen to the footsteps of the young girls in the village. I hear their laughter. I hear their hunger. I hear them talking about soft life and visiting the city. Yesterday, a girl stopped in front of me. She smelled of smoke and cheap soap. "Mama," she asked, her voice full of pity, "why do you cry?" I try to lift my head. I try to open my mouth to warn her. To tell her that the red thread is a noose, not a ladder. But I couldn't speak. Because inside my mouth, where my tongue used to be, there was only cold, dead silence. And from the darkness behind me, 12 shadows laughed. Subscribe to BCD Blog Stories for more interesting and educative stories.